it's such a strange performance in that this isn't to take anything away from Liverpool because Man United had nothing for them. But United did give up.
Well, Pete Donaldson, what a bloody win. Liverpool's biggest ever win over Manchester United. Obviously the first time there's been a 7-goal margin between the two sides. That was a proper gubbing.
It was, and it's one in the eye for Luke Miller who said this.
Man United are going to go to Anfield and smash Liverpool.
So, I mean, it's just one in the eye for Luke.
I really regret saying that, actually. I'll gut the Timberwolves.
Yeah. Button boxer's back.
I'm gutted about that, Man United are going to go to Anfield and smash Liverpool.
What you actually said was this.
Anyone around this table think that Man United are going to go to Anfield and smash Liverpool? They're not, are they?
Right. Okay, good.
That's fine.
So you
can
have that,
I don't actually mind. You know as well as I do, I don't mind as long as I'm involved. As long as I'm the centre of attention in some kind of way, I don't mind. In fairness, I didn't actually say, Liverpool are going to easily win. I just said I don't agree with the kind of prevailing wind that, Man United are in this amazing form, because obviously Liverpool hadn't conceded a goal in 4 games before this one. So it didn't seem as cut and dry as I thought people were saying. But I obviously didn't think they were going to smash them like that. It was an incredible event. And it was sometimes football matches, particularly the Sunday afternoon ones, where it's the last one before the week starts again. You think, I'm going to settle down and enjoy this. And I try and get any chores I need to do out the way in the morning on a Sunday, so I can watch the football. Sometimes those games, when they're like this, they cross over from game into event. Actual event.
Yeah, you've got whatever you're doing.
Stop. Stop what you're doing. And this was definitely one of those. It's remarkable to see it unfold that way in front of your eyes. And I was chatting to producer Charlie on this morning, and he was saying, isn't it fascinating how the forensic detail that the football coverage goes into now, and all these things that players are expected to do in training, the numbers are expected to hit, the kind of like I said, the forensic detail they go into, it can the thin veneer of that is astonishingly thin. So as soon as it falls apart, there's nothing you can do.
It only took 1 goal though for me. Like Man United were doing bits, and they could have probably had a couple themselves, and then Liverpool
Gary
scored,
Neville over there.
and then it just kind of fell to pieces for them.
Well, in the first half, though, even when it was fairly evenly matched, the game felt emotional, right? And that's how this happens. That's how players start thinking about, I suppose, either not losing face or becoming the hero. And if that translates to enough of them, I think you get this kind of absolutely chaotic...
It's like an infection that spreads really
it's interesting
fast.
you say about the emotions, because under Klopp, Klopp is quite an emotional character. Although most of the time I think he's disciplined with that emotion, if they win. But Liverpool, the way they've been playing under him, pressing and all the rest of it, if you see what I mean, it's a more of an... on the face of it, it's almost like a more emotional style, if you see what I mean.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Rather than, say, the team that they've obviously been competing against, hence we're comparing them to Manchester City. Both incredible teams, amazing ways of playing the game. And it's felt that this season that Liverpool, for loads of reasons we've talked about and a lot of other people have spoken about, is that it's almost like they've lost their emotions, if you see what I mean. And here they very much found them. I mean, Klopp said after the game, it feels like a day from last season, not this season. And he's right. And I have been, recently on the pod, I've been saying, I wonder if Klopp and Liverpool are done.
Come to the end of the road.
Exactly. And that was echoing actually the thoughts of Jamie Carragher, who said that after the Real Madrid game.
Pass the buck.
I'm passing all the buck.
Jamie had a lovely time yesterday, didn't he?
Indeed.
Great day out.
Oh, my goodness. But he was saying after that Real Madrid loss, he was saying, you've now got to ask questions of the manager, what's going on here, kind of thing, and nobody has done. I said this in a concerned way, because you don't want to see Klopp and Liverpool playing like this from a neutral point of view. I understand from other clubs, it's especially from Arsenal's point of view, it's good that Liverpool are misfiring largely this season. But they've not been at the races, and this result doesn't kind of mask that. But what it does do, it gives a sense of, well, hang on a minute, there's still life in there, and it gives you a sense, as Jonathan Wilson wrote in The Guardian today, that Gakpo, Salah and Nunez, is that the front three of the sort of, if you like, immediate future? Because you wouldn't say Salah's one for the future, of course, but he's very much still for the here and now. But he was brilliant yesterday, the way he was pelting down the wing and so on. Think about the goalless draw at Crystal Palace not that long ago. Think of those kind of performances. Again, this has not been a good season for Liverpool. That performance was stunningly good.
And to back up your point, actually, in a way that maybe you haven't considered, the fact that they won 7-0 actually plays into that idea, because they didn't really, in a very forensic, scientific way say, right, now we're going to control the game. We're 3-0 up. We've got the game won.
Yeah.
It's a big game coming up midweek.
Yeah.
We're going to control the game because their game management is something they're not that good at. So what they basically carried on the only way they knew how, which was just to keep battering them.
Yeah. And that's why us neutrals were loving it.
And they enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, of course
it must have been a real release of pressure in a season which has been underwhelming, and there's a lot of pressure on you for myriad reasons. To then just be out there doing what you do best as a professional with Anfield absolutely just roaring, must have been, it probably didn't even cross their minds to stop trying to score.
In the immediate post-match, Roy Keane actually started laughing.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, that is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen on telly.
Oh, it was probably Malcolm Tucker.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But the punditry was exceptional afterwards.
Yeah. But Graham Sears was quite good beforehand.
Well, he was. He was saying, I think it's Liverpool's day.
But how do you explain the Man United
collapse?
Because I feel I've got like a little bit of a theory around it.
Well, it was an extraordinary. I mean, Ten Hag sent up said, I saw 11 individuals losing their heads. That is unprofessional. Bruno Fernandes was all over the place. He was visibly very angry. But I mean, that is often the case with Fernandes if it's not quite going their way. But I mean, Luke Shaw, what an afternoon or evening he had.
The pair of them were particularly petulant.
Yeah. I thought the refereed the occasion, not the game. I think he's done them a massive solid there because
Shaw could have been sent off
big time. I think he could have had about 16 bookings. I think 7-0 is embarrassing, right? To go away to Liverpool, which a lot of people at Man United would consider to be their big rivalry game, right? And for those people who haven't watched it for a long time,
it's an enormous game. It always counts.
In the UK, they don't necessarily know that is the case. But it could have been the worst thing you could say about Man United is it could have been a lot worse for them. I think Fernandes probably should have gone. Shaw definitely should have gone. And the referee was essentially dishing out sympathy to Manchester United at Anfield, and that is the biggest insult you could probably pay the club.
Yeah, I'd say 3 minutes of added time.
Come on.
Yeah, that's just the goals. That's not the subs. That's not including any stoppages.
The referee's like we've all seen enough.
Well, basically, it's such a strange performance in that. This isn't to take anything away from Liverpool because Man United had nothing for them. But United did give up in a way that I've never seen from them before.
It looked like there were 9 players.
Yeah,
it was just like, has someone been sent off here?
Absolutely, because that's what normally happens in these games. Right? Someone gets sent off and it all gets a bit out of hand. But they were essentially lacking men due to the cumulative effort not being that of 11 individuals. And terrible.
It's piss poor.
And I don't think it's symbolic of a wider malaise because obviously United have been pretty good this season overall, and Ten Hag's done a great job, and it only comes a week after they've lifted their first trophy for a while.
Do that last week.
I know, yeah. but what I do think is that it's clear that with some of these players, that kind of thing is just bubbling just beneath the surface. And as I said earlier, the thin veneer of kind of respectability is for them at the moment still very thin. I mean, the 10 years since Ferguson left United has been 10 years of great turbulence, and you never really know whether you're coming or going. There's been a lot of managers and all the rest of it. And I think it just shows Ten Hag that he's got a lot of work to do because there is no disgrace in losing 2-0 at Anfield. Their record at Anfield is poor anyway. But to do what they did there, I've never seen a player demand to be subbed off before when there's nothing wrong with him.
I think for me, that's surely... This is going to be a really significant moment in Bruno Fernandes' Man United career. If you're Eric Ten Hag, you're looking at that thinking, can I,
I don't know.
Can I count on this guy?
But if a professional footballer genuinely thinks this isn't going right for me, and you do have games like that as a player, I mean, maybe don't kind of get really annoyed on the pitch visibly. But
Keane said that, didn't he? Keane said you've got to stand up and say, look, I'm the one who's going to be counted here.
Well, he said you've got to take your medicine. If you're going to lose 3 or 4, you're down, it's not your day, then you lose 3 or 4. And you kind of go, right, let's see this out, let's whack it in at the channels, do whatever. Do not get even more humiliated, and that's exactly what they did. Here's a little stat for you. Manchester United have now conceded more goals in the Premier League this season than West Ham.
Wow. I saw the aggregate score between the two teams at Anfield over the last 10 years. I think it's 36-2.
Yeah, I would say that they've conceded the most goals in the top 10, but that's Tottenham.
Still Tottenham. Spurs fans, in case you were wondering while listening to this show, it is still you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that goal was, of course, scored by Adama Traore.
But I liked that Roy Keane said after he stopped laughing like Malcolm Tucker, he said, this is big boy business. This is serious. He was fuming. And I also like the fact that, and it's pleasing for us here at the Ramble because last week we were going, is Gary Neville lost it? Has he lost it? I think he confirmed it yesterday.
He was awful. He was absolutely awful.
It was just incredible for him to start saying, oh, for the first 40 minutes, United were the better team and Liverpool didn't play that well. It's like, but in this case, the ends does really justify the means. It's like, so I went out on a night out and, between the hours of 7 p.m. and 1 a.m., I didn't burgle anyone's house. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're still a burglar. The police don't give you credit for that.
Yeah.
It just reminds you of that.
It was only for a moment I went 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
It's like the guy in played by Steve Coogan in that 90s sketch show. I forget what it's called now. Where he's the guy who looks after the swimming pool, and then and someone drowns in the swimming pool, and it's like 1997 or whatever, and he just sits there going, in 1992, no one died. In 1993, no one. He gets to 1997 and he goes, in 1997, someone died. It's like, yeah, Gary, it's not. It's the age-old thing about, I'm sure that Abraham Lincoln's wife enjoyed the play up until that point. Yeah, it's like, what are you fucking saying?
It was really, really interesting to see the contrast between him and Roy Keane, because you could see Roy Keane
checked out
beneath him.
Yeah, he checked out of it. Yeah,
partially because obviously Gary Neville was saying so much, but it was just beneath him to lower himself to try and save any face from that situation. If you were to score that post-match analysis between the Liverpool and the Man United players, the score would be similar. Because Carragher's brilliant in this because he just enjoys it. He doesn't overthink it, does he? He just enjoys it, laughs about it.
You can hear him screaming in the background.
That was super. Neville's got this situation he's in where he's considered to be a very thoughtful pundit for good reason. He's earned that reputation, but he kind of overthinks it here, trying to basically find some way in which actually it's not that big a deal when Man United haven't lost much face is just a ridiculous position.
Yeah. I found it. I just found that he came across as someone who wasn't able just to put it to one side like Carragher can, right? Carragher, I kind of get the impression as well that if it had been 7-0 to Man United, Carragher would have been sat in there laughing along, probably a bit embarrassed, a bit angry.
Because Carragher didn't play in the game. Neville's behaving as if he played in the game.
Yeah, Keane also turned it around on David De Gea as well. That was great. Because the best ever Keane rant was the, I'm sick to death of this goalkeeper. I wouldn't let him on the bus if I was still playing.
That's right, yeah.
He didn't quite get to that level, but he was fuming with him about that 6th goal.
Yeah. Who turned up to Man United training today in the Ferrari?
Oh, Diogo Dallo, yeah.
Diogo Dallo.
I have mixed feelings about this.
We were
just
saying,
his car, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you should have a shame car.
If
you've been beaten by a certain number,
get in the Fiat Punto,
get in some clap,
get in your jalopies.
Ten Hag just gets on the group WhatsApp group, just says simply cabs tomorrow.
No,
get
bus.
a cab.
Get the bus.
Get the bus tomorrow.
Get the line bike tomorrow.
Yeah. You're right. You can't. They're obviously very successful at what they do. They've got to where they are. They're very worthy of whatever they get paid, in my view, as a general rule. But I just think you look at someone like Diogo Dallo, who, no one could really pick him out of a lineup if they weren't really into football. And he's just been on the.
He's the one in the Ferrari.
Yeah, and he turns up in the Ferrari. It's like, okay, right, fine.
Yeah,
it's not ideal, is it?
Yeah.